For the first time in almost 2 decades, America produced more crude oil than it imported last month in October. Specifically, we produced 7.7 million barrels per day in October, while just 7.6 million barrels per day were imported.
So we're energy independent.
That's
it.
Fantastic. Congratulations, America!
Well, comparatively,
great news.
Imports were at 60% of our total oil usage in 2005. They're down to 35% today.
But we could, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, we could be energy independent right now. Maybe not for the foreseeable future, but like we got enough. We don't need to import anything.
You know what?
Yeah.
Shut them down. Shut the borders down.
Yeah.
I'm with the Republicans.
Yeah.
We got enough oil.
Yeah.
Let's just
We're
keep
good.
it. Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, so we're at 7.7 million barrels produced this year. The estimates I've seen next year is an additional 900,000 barrels per day. So cutting even farther into that, our crude oil production is up 50% since 2008.
What happened in 2008? I can't remember. Who was the president then? It was that Bush guy. And then in 2009, the 4 years that it's risen. Last time that my girlfriend's father and his girlfriend were visiting us, and she's a big conservative. And I got into a huge argument because I was saying Obama has increased domestic oil production. While they were saying, you know, the outrage of Obama shutting down jobs and 50%, this giant increase in oil production. I want her to come back so badly.
The stock market like doubling. It's
I know.
Like for
a
the wealthy,
communist, it's amazing that he was able to do that. It's really
for a very small group of people for a communist.
Yeah. So more amazing facts. The amount of oil we have, oil production that we have increased since 2008, that amount, not the whole amount, just the increase, is more than the amount of oil Iran regularly produces. Iran, oh my God, look, they're oil rich. And that was before the sanctions. The amount of oil you got out of Iran is less than the increase we've had since 2008. And so the other fact that John mentioned there was that we used to import 60% of our oil back in 2005. To Ben's point, I believe George W. Bush was president. Mm-hmm. Now we're at 35%, a much, much better number. And now, do I believe that Obama is responsible for that? No. Okay, there's the fracking, there's a lot of different things that go into it. But the Republicans would say
that he's blocking.
He's
shutting it down. I can't believe this, okay, guys.
Could have been 100% increase.
So and that Bush deserved all the credit for all the things about when the gas prices were low. Of course, then when it shot up to $4, of course they backed away from that, right? And when prices were high, if you remember during the election, Newt Gingrich talking about Obama, it's his fault. So, but the good news is Newt Gingrich went on CNN yesterday and said it's all Obama's credit. It's because of him that we're doing so well.
To be fair, you have to give Bush a lot of the credit because it turned out much of this extra oil was found under all that brush he'd been clearing. But this might sound like good news. You've alluded to some of the ways that this is not actually good news if you're a lib. For one, much of the extra oil that we've been able to take out has been through technological improvements like fracking, horizontal drilling, other forms of drilling that are much dirtier. And what I love is if you think that this is going to lead to cheaper gas, the oil companies are coming out and saying, well, not necessarily. We do still have to deal with the global market. And so we produce all this extra oil, might have no effect whatsoever on gas prices.
Because you're producing the extra oil because they have to wait till it gets above $85 a barrel till it makes economic sense to go after it. So the reason you had the increase after 2008 is because the price of oil shot up, because until then, it was always kind of hovering around 60, and there was talk maybe it'll go over 100, and now it's routinely, in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what's the 85? What's the magic $85?
Well, to get oil out of the ground with not that much technology is between $0 and $30 a barrel. So as it goes up, you can do more things, whether it's fracking or
and the
more expensive drills or underground coal gasification. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do.
And they've financed this with debt to get all the equipment to be able to do this. So the oil companies went in. I mean, they're not. We know how much money they have, but they racked up huge debt to get this equipment, to get ahead of the game, to get all this oil.
Right.
My hunch is they'll be able to pay it back.
They'll be able to pay it back.
Yeah.
But it doesn't solve the hydrocarbon problem of heating the
every time I think
atmosphere
the
up.
conversation's over, you say something else I don't understand.
No,
it's
not going to solve climate change. It's going to make it worse.
Yeah.
One area that Obama can get a little bit of credit for in this area, or at least he's trying to get the credit for, is that forget about the extra increase in oil we're producing. The fact that we're importing less, he says, is in part due to technological improvements, but also new regulations that have raised the average MPG required in fleets and automobiles in the United States. And so they're saying that he has had an impact on that side of the equation. And also, for environmentalists, they do say that domestic energy-related carbon dioxide emissions are at their lowest level since 1994 and over 12% below the recent 2007 peak. And so that could be attributed in part, at least, to the higher MPG requirements.